Welcome back to our devlog about an RPG that you kind of just kill stuff in. It's like episode 32 or something, so we've been doing it for quite a while now, and this episode we did something actually so useful we had to open up Visual Studios for longer than 10 minutes at a time. While I focused on making a system that made sure the player didn't just get obliterated by 10 orcs at the same time, our team was hard at work making sure the game ran better than 10 FPS on a 2060. So yeah, let's just get right into this week's development. So after having this system on the to-do list for about a month now, I was like, yeah, I probably should get on that sometime. So after getting some extra time to actually open up Windshire, I finally convinced myself that I should probably add the system in. The gist of the system is that it would make the combat more fair towards the player. Instead of having the player just being absolutely destroyed by 10 orcs at the same time, they would take turns on the player. This is the same type of system in games like Assassin's Creed, Shadow of War, and many other AAA games. So you know, actual good games. So I was like, you know what? Well, if it works for them and it's fun, let's just rip it out and put it into Windshire. So that's exactly what we ended up doing. This system was also in phase 1, but it was kinda just straight poo. Well, sort of. This system worked, but the AI for the orcs were so terrible it was really annoying to fight them, which is kind of, you know, the complete opposite of what we want. I like to call this system the battle circle system, and I've probably redone this system about 10 times on stream when I used to do that. Probably should get back to that at some point. Anyways, back to the system, the way I first handled it, and I still tried to do, was to have two lists, the backup and the attackers. The backup was the enemies waiting to wail on the player, while the attackers were actually wailing on the player. This worked pretty well, but you would have to constantly add and remove from the list, and I thought there was a better system. After consulting with one of the other team members, Captain Conrad, we got an idea. Well, actually, he got the idea, and that was to, instead of having two lists, there we go, finally, there would be only one list, but there would be two columns, which he called a dictionary, which I mean is kind of like a whole programming term, but like, that's okay. This was a genius way to handle this, because instead of just adding and removing the AI all the time, we could just change the value of the enemies on the list. This would cause less overhead of adding and removing and allow the system to work with fewer bugs. After getting this whole backend to work and how I wanted it, it was time to actually add it to the behavior tree. This is a system that I'm still kind of learning, so this took me a while because I created a new action that would handle adding, switching, and removing, all based on what enum you select. So basically, when the enemy finds a target, it will join that list, and when it wants to attack, it will try to join the attacker's enum. If the attackers are full, it will just stand there until one of the spots open up. Anyways, after getting it all to work, it felt awesome, except for the whole thing of the AI not being able to see and remember the player's face longer than 10 seconds, and a couple of other bugs that we're going to be worrying about later. Anyways, it felt awesome. And after figuring out all of that fun back-end work of the battle AI, I thought it was a perfect time to start implementing the strafing behavior for the orcs. This would actually make them do something when they're not attacking and make them feel more alive. This is something I've always wanted to actually implement, but you know, it's kind of hard without, you know, having the battle circle stuff set in place, because you know, you kind of need to know who's attacking so the other ones can just do a loop-de-loop. So after having all of that battle stuff sorted, I was pretty excited to get this system rolling. I mean, technically strafing, but you know, we're not gonna worry about that. This system didn't take too long to implement, but it definitely had a major effect on how developed the AI seems. Now, instead of just standing there waiting to wail on it, it's gonna actually just walk around until it has to wail on you, so it's a genius idea. Anyways, this whole system just feels so much more alive and really fun to play against. So that's all I really did for AI this week. We only have a couple more things to do and a few bugs to fix, but then this whole system is going to be super fresh and deployable. Really hope I used those right, but whatever. This week has probably, well in my opinion, been the most tedious for Perforator. This week has been filled with making LODs for previous tree models to make sure the world doesn't run like a potato, but rather on a potato. Anyways, Peripheral has been extremely busy working on multiple LODs which aren't very interesting to look at unless you get enjoyment by looking at triangle amounts. Or trees, I don't know, which would be kind of odd. Anyways, there hasn't been too much development on brand new models, which is alright because these LODs will actually make the game playable. Though I just lied, we did redesign some of the trees just to give them a nicer aesthetic, which will improve the game folds. And in addition, he recently sent over an awesome looking plant. I'm really excited to see all of these working together and making this world just gorgeous. While on the other hand, Excelsius has some awesome new NPCs finished. He made an awesome looking butcher model, a few brave knights, and a cute looking merchant. Oh, he also made Zuko just for fun, and who knows, it might be in the game, it might not be. You guys have to figure that out for yourselves. So give them a huge thank you for working so hard this week. They've done a ton. This is a section that I'm really excited to let you guys see. Hear. Anyways, our talented musician created a beautiful track for a boss battle. I might have showed it off before, but he did some revisions and it sounds awesome now. So here's a small sneak peek of the new track. This was the previous section for UI/UX design, but I feel like the art would actually fit way better. Anyways, our awesome UI designer said he could create an awesome logo for Windshire, and let me tell you guys, he did not disappoint. After sending him a couple of references of logos I liked, we agreed on having an orc as the main figurehead, because it's kind of like the main enemy. Furthermore, haha, I got you guys, you thought I was going to say anyways. This is what teachers used to tell me when I used to use anyways on the essay like 25 times. So without further ado, let's get back on track. After spending some time on it, he sent over an awesome looking logo and he did not disappoint. This awesome design of an orc's figurehead sitting on a semicircle, I don't know what exactly to call it, but that's what I'm going to go with. Because I feel like I'm right. Anyway, okay, never mind. I'll just keep saying anyways, it's so much easier. Anyways, this is exactly what I wanted in our logo design. So give Nathan a huge thank you and go check out his project Bound Forest, which will be released on Steam soon. So that's all we really have for this week. Thank you guys all for tuning into this week's work. I hope you guys have had an awesome week so far, and let us thank our awesome supporters before we go. Let's give a huge shout out to Tofster and Token for their awesome support. In addition, give some praise to Inconspicuous, Delta, Max, Tajna, Munchir, and Deathstroke. Without you guys, this project would have been very difficult to accomplish, so I just wanted to thank you guys for supporting us. Anyways, I hope you guys just have a swell day, and I'll see you guys in the next devlog.